A warm welcome to my friends, Your Excellencies, and distinguished colleagues. One of the things before we start the very interesting talk, we had a private discussion, both of us, His Excellency and His Excellency Aqil Beltaji, and Ambassador Weifang agreed to send a delegation of experts on transport to advise us on transport solutions, traffic solutions, I mean road transport, traffic solutions. So we will be organizing once we have this team ready to come, we will organize.
So we'll be here on time.
So we can also bring the Minister of Transport and Mudir al-Amn al-Aam, because they are involved as partners of the municipality in controlling the roads. So we will follow up this with you, and I thank you for your positive response on this. Today's day is a discussion day. What His Excellency wants is to make it more interactive discussion. Well, I just want to, in the way of introduction, say that in 1985, I attended a seminar at the National Science Academy in Washington. And the seminar's subject was, where will the U.S. vis-à-vis China be in the year 2020? The National Science Academy is a very highly respected academy in Washington, and I happen to be, as I remember, the only participant from outside the U.S. in that seminar. And the focus was on China versus the U.S. in 40 years. That was 85. I am very impressed that the results of the think tanks and all the intelligence agencies that were involved in the meeting, the conclusions came to be almost true, as the expectations came out from the conference. And in summary, I would like to summarize the major conclusions. Number one, there is no power that is not economic power. The economic power of the world will be the political and the military power. The lesson of Russia having been at one time the most powerful militarily, but could not sustain its leadership of the world because it was economically not the superpower. So in the year 2020, the superpower of the world will be the power that has the economic power. Number two, the expectations was that this process of development of who is going to be the superpower in the world was explained as a way of balancing the world. That if you have more than one superpower, that these superpowers can together, because of their different interests, different interests, they can provide balance for the various interests of the part of the world. So the U.S., according to this think tank, would like and welcome the emergence of other superpowers, and not to become the only person who carries the weight of what problems of the world as a single power. In other words, they welcomed the emergence of other superpowers so that they can together, as a team, have the leadership, a balanced leadership of the world. And the other major conclusion was that a the development of population of the world is something that has to be taken into consideration. It is expected that in 2000, the study said, it's expected in 2020 that half the world population will be in China and India. Two countries will represent 50% of the world. This is just the way of introduction. Our distinguished speaker, my great friend, His Excellency the Ambassador, will cover subjects relating to economic situation in China, the relationships with the Arab countries and particularly Jordan. فضل معاليك فضل. The relationship with Jordan, the economic belt for the Silk Road, which I was privileged to be part of the consultation process and attended the consultative meeting in Beijing on the project that is being given great priority by China, which is very important to us. As you may know that through the Silk Road, as I was saying at one time, China controlled 50% of world trade, and I was corrected by somebody who said, no, it's not true, it's 70%. So we're talking about a giant, economic giant that is emerging, and this giant has plans, prospects, ambitions in this world, and we needed to hear about this. And very recently, the Chinese leadership issued a document called China's Arab Policies Paper. This outlines the policy of China in the Arab world, which we also hope to hear about. We also would like to hear about the plans that China has in Jordan in the field of education, namely the Chinese Jordanian University, many other projects in Jordan that the government of China is leading. So there is a lot to talk about, and I don't want to waste your time with my ignorance. So we will listen to the expert and to the knowledgeable, and not to the secondary speaker. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Excellency. Yeah, Your Excellency, Mr. Talal Abu-Ghazaleh, my respect friend, and a very strong supporter to the China-Arab relations, China-Jordanian relations. I'm so honored to be invited to this meeting and to discuss with you about any issues you are interested, and I'm open for discussions. So according to the proposal made by my dear close friend, Mr. Talal Abu-Ghazaleh, I will start to make some comments on the economic situation in China, and also our Middle East policy, and the China-Arab relationship, China-Jordanian relationship, and then maybe One Belt, One Road, what we call modern Silk Road policy, and the projects we are discussing now in the Arab world, in Jordan, what China will do here. And I leave the floor to you, maybe whatever you are interested, you can raise your questions. I'm open and I'm flexible, and I'm ready to answer all kinds of the questions, if I'm knowledgeable enough. But I'm not so knowledgeable as His Excellency mentioned, because I'm a new ambassador here. I'm only here for 3 months. I've just started my job. I'm still working. I'm still investigating the potentials of relationship between China and Arab world, China and Jordanian relationship, what we can do here, what projects we should follow up, what we can do more seriously now, what we can wait for a little while for pragmatic thinking. So anyhow, in China, I'm sure people, the participants here, maybe you have studied before, and then most of you are experts Actually, I noticed that some of the old friends and the new faces, of course, Your Excellencies, the ministers, the ambassadors, my dear colleagues, and also the people they are working on China and the Arab relationship, China-Jordanian relationship. And the people are here. I'm sure you're all interested how to develop further the relationship, how to have more closer collaborations between China and Jordan and China and Arab world. So on China, I should say that, yeah, you're quite right. China is a very populated country, 1.3 billion population, still number one. I don't know whether India is catching up or not, but anyhow, we're still the number one in the number of population. But actually, it's not our ambition to be always the number one in population. We want to number one in economics, economic power. What we want to do, we want to create a better living environment, living standard for our people. Yeah, because for millions of people, it's nothing. For 1.3 billion people, if you want them all to have a very good life, you need to be very hardworking. You need to think something. You need to actually have a more balanced policy. China is so huge, with 9.6 million square kilometers. It's so large country. How to manage? So you have the people living in the coastal line, coastal areas. You have the people living in the landlocked western part of China, north, and in the land. So it's difficult for you to provide the same quality of life for the people living in different areas. But you have to balance. You have to help the people living under the poverty line. You have to actually feed them. You have to provide all kinds of, the necessities of life to these people. Because China is a socialist country. We have to take all the people into consideration, all classes. But for 1.3 billion, it's difficult for you that to upgrade their life, their living standard overnight. And we used to have what we call the planned economy, which everything was equal. But we realized maybe it was not a good thinking, because you are killing the enthusiasm of people. So then we start to follow up what we call market economy. You have to produce according to the demand of the market. You should not do something within the closed doors. So it's no good at all to participate in economic activities blindly. So we started our reform and open door policy from 1978, 1979. So within 3 decades, within 30 or 35 or 37 years, China really made a remarkable economic growth, economic progress. As His Excellency already mentioned, China is now the second largest economy. So 30 years before, we couldn't think about it, but now everybody knows that China is the second largest economy. Why? I think that you should give up your dogmatic thinking. You should be more realistic, more open-minded. You should encourage your people to do whatever they want. You should encourage them. You should encourage the enthusiasm. And you should have a better environment for your development. So if you have so many enemies, you might be surrounded. You might be under sanctions. And this world, we call it a global village. You have to work together with the people living surrounding you. You have to apply the actual situation outside the world. You have to work together with the others. Because China, although it's a very big country in size, very big country in population, but still you are dependent on the others. You have to import raw materials. You have to buy oil and gas. You have to export to the international world. to the global market. You have to export your products to the United States, to Europe, to the Middle East, to Africa, to Latin America, every corner of the world. So why China had very speed growth? I don't know, 12 or 13% annually. It's GDP growth. But why now we are only 6.5 or less than 7%? Because you are part of the world. The Chinese economy is a part of world economy. If the global economy has some problem, you are affected. If they are not buying more, you are unable to export your products. And on the second hand, so because we had a very low level development, it was easier for you to develop faster. But since you are not the second, the world's second economy, so you have to concentrate on the quality, not the quantity of growth. And maybe 1% of growth equals the 10% of growth 10, 20, or 30 years ago. So this is the actual situation we are facing, the environment, the market abroad. And also, actually, as I mentioned, the quality and quantity of growth. So, and also we have to balance the growth in China. We have the very fast development in the coast area, eastern part of China. We have slower growth in the western part of China, inlands. And also you have to do something what we call more scientifically. Because people were thinking that whatever you produce, you can sell easily. But nowadays, you are facing serious competitions concerning its labor cost. Maybe China was one of the cheapest producer in the world. So wherever you go, made in China, made in China. But nowadays, the labor cost is getting higher and higher. You are losing. You are losing your cost to the countries in Asia, Africa, the Middle East. So what shall we do? We should concentrate more on more high-tech products, on more scientific, more what we call the more high technologies. If you only concentrate on what we call the labor cost or low-level or low-quality products, it's not the future of your economy. So whatever you want to do, you should make more what we call the improved quality of your products. You have to catch up. You have to compete with more advanced economies. So more advanced economy could be North America or West Europe. You should not only compete with the people living in Africa or Asia or Latin America, what we call developing countries. So sooner or later, you have to face the competitions from different areas. And you are losing your market to the developing countries, to the what called lower labor cost countries. And you have to catch up scientifically. This is the world we are facing now. And you have no choice. So you have to be more realistic. You have to take all the factors into consideration. You have to be more flexible. And you should encourage people to be more innovative. You have to concentrate on innovation. And you have to learn more advanced experiences, technologies, and equipment and products from all advanced economies. And you should not only concentrate on your domestic market. China is a market of 1.3 billion. It's large enough, maybe for some countries. But if you are only domestic concentrated, if you are only concentrating, focusing on your own domestic market, you are losing your shares outside. And your market is limited. Your economy is limited. What you need to do is that you have to at least, China about 20 years ago we exported a large quantities of oil and gas to other countries. But now maybe China is the number one buyer of oil from abroad. Why? Because of fast developing economy, you are losing some of your reserves. So what you need to do, you have to buy the raw materials from other countries, oil-producing countries, the minerals from Asia, Africa, Latin America. And so this is the word you have to take into consideration. You are dependent on others. Dependent on yourself, on your own resources is not enough at all. And there could be a limited area for development. You have to fly together with others. So it's a win-win policy. So what we are calling now is to encourage the Chinese companies, the Chinese investors, to go abroad. You should focus more on wider market, not only on domestic market. So more and more Chinese investors, they are going abroad. They are going to every corner of the world. They are going to even more advanced markets in West Europe and North America. So they are taking their good technologies abroad. They are taking their money abroad. And some of them, they still believe that they can make more profits abroad rather than in China. Why? Because world economy is larger than your own domestic market. And by making a good investment, you can make good profits. And it could be win-win situation. So this is why we have a One Belt, One Road policy. It means that you have to work together with others. You have to take your capitals, your technologies, your products abroad. You have to make investment first, then to make profits together with other partners. And with a larger participation of all nations in the projects, I think you have larger market. You have more future promising market. So this is why we believe so. So why we call modern Silk Road? It could be a Silk Road on land and a maritime Silk Road. Because 1,000, 2,000 years ago, we started our trade with Asia, with Middle East, with African countries, with Europe. Yeah. Actually, very preliminary tools, such as camels. But now it's more convenient for us to do more business together. So this is why we call that we should create a modern Silk Road. We should create a picture of a win-win for everybody in the region. And we should be complementary to each other, not to be a competitor, but a win-win partners. We can do that. We can reach such target. And we believe that with the peaceful world, with the stabilities we have, we can make more progress. Without peace and stability, you can do nothing. Without stabilities, nobody is willing to make investment. So with more stabilities, with more economic cooperations, you have more friends, you have more partners, you have more win-win collaborators. So we should not be selfish, only think about your own pockets, your own profits. You have to think about the profits of the others. It's a win-win situation. And the long-term, more sustainable development is that you should have such stable partners, more open-minded partners, in the more peaceful and stable places. So in the Middle East, we have good friends here. We enjoy very good historical relationship. And a lot of people here sitting here, they are now still working on how to develop the friendly relationship with China. So we are very grateful. I really appreciate for their great efforts. But from our side, I think that we also need to make more investments to help some of the countries in Africa or Middle East or developing countries to do more in infrastructure, energy, power plants, environment, high-techs. And this is our common target. And I believe that China has reached to a certain level of development. And we can use our technology, our capitals to help the others. So this is why my president, when he was here visiting some of the Arab countries, he proposed that China should provide $55 billion in the region. And China also promised to spend $60 billion in Africa. So in the Middle East, $55 billion. It includes the low interest and the preferential loans, credits, the funds, donations, investment, etc.
50 billion.
$55 billion. So it could, I mean, the Chinese enterprises, the companies, actually they are ready to reach agreement with the regional countries on infrastructure, because we have done a lot during the 3 decades of reform and open door policy. We have built a lot of the highways, the railways, high-speed trains, underground metros, and modern facilities, power plants, renewable energies, all good technologies. So it means that in this area, we realized that some of the countries, including Jordan, they need such technology and such facility. They want to work with us together, how to improve their traffic, how to remove some of the obstacles, how to have a more easy life, how to create a more easy life for the people, how to save time for them, yeah, how to enjoy life, how to have a better, more improved living standard. So this is our common target, and we have common language. We can work together. We can have a win-win situation. So this is why I think that the Chinese government has adopted a right policy, and we encourage our people to go abroad, to invest there, and to make achievements together with the local people, with local companies. And also on education and cultural programs, as I mentioned, China is a country very peace-loving. We never had our soldiers or military troops abroad, and we don't want to do that. What we need to do is to work together on more economic collaboration, to improve the life for all the people, every corner of the world. So this is why we are helping the refugees here. And we are working with the countries, whatever they need, even without capitals. So you have noticed about our projects in the Middle East. And we have the forum, China Arab Forum. We are talking about all the projects every year. And we have a common interests, yeah, in maintaining peace and stability in the region, and to more developed economy, and how to work together on infrastructure, energy, natural resources, and human resources. So now we are inviting more and more people to visit China. And there are more and more students that are going to China to not learn only the technology, but the language, the Chinese language, the Mandarin. And we're sending our teachers abroad. We have a Confucius Institute here, every country in the region and in other parts of the world. So it means that we are open, we are ready to cooperate, and we're ready to talk all the projects you are interested. And we have such capabilities and capitals. So just a start for briefing you about Chinese economy, Chinese policy, and the potentials of our relationship, and the projects we might think about it. So I leave the floor to Your Excellency, and I leave the floor to you. If you want me to make more comments on certain specific issues, I'm ready to do that. And if you have more proposals, how China can improve its position in the Middle East, and how China should do more in this region. And if you have different ideas, if you have good proposals that China should be more present here, more economically, I don't believe militarily, but more economically, and educationally, culturally, why not? It's a people-to-people relationship. It's a beneficial, mutual beneficial to all of us. We can understand more about each other. You mentioned about superpower. Superpower is good if you can improve the relationship with the people. If you can help them, if you can help them more economically and humanitarianly. But militarily, I don't think China is marching towards that direction. We want to be more active economically. Without peace and stability, you can do nothing economically. Thank you so much.
His Excellency wanted to just give an introduction and leave it to you to ask what focus you want. So we could, for a start, I would like a brief on what we are doing, particularly you and us, in Jordan, in the field of teaching the language and culture. We have this project now for having a China house, which will include, it's a mini Chinatown. We have a project for teaching Arabic in China. We have a project with the Chinese Jordanian University, particularly for vocational education, which is on the top priorities of the government and under the directions of His Majesty. Vocational training is a priority now in the leadership sense of direction. So we are doing a number of things, but we would like, as he suggested, to hear from you what you would you like China to do more in Jordan and in this region.
Please, the floor is yours.
Questions? Your Excellency. His Excellency, Dr. Jawad Lanani.
Thank you very much, sir. I enjoyed your lecture and notes very much. Although I have been a frequent visitor to China, and I know that what you said today probably reflects the last, it's what we call paradigm shift. China's economic thinking for the future.
Yeah.
So we thank you for sharing that with us. The second point I would like to ask you is that, you know, China is the second largest power, although this might not agree with Joseph Stiglitz, you know, who wrote in 2014 an article in I remember the magazine now, but he said that China was number one at the end of 2014. The way he recalculated GDP and transferred that into purchasing power, you know, he said that China was probably the largest economy, and he wrote that in Vanity Fair. The third point I'd like to make: why don't you think of building, you know, a full-fledged Red Dead Canal?
A Red Dead Canal.
I think that is a very important project environmentally, internationally, and it can be also very rewarding because it will produce energy and it will also produce lots of water. The way we have to scale down this particular project in Jordan because it's too expensive for us, and secondly, you know, we think that there are certain technical points that we should take into consideration. But I really believe that China can do a lot on this particular project. So I would like to bring that to attention. My question now.
Okay.
My question to you is the following: that China right now is the second largest economy.
And the number one trader.
Yeah, a number one trader. And you are changing your paradigm because I think that the United States in particular was the main vehicle for you for marketing your goods and the brand names, various brand names. So in a way that helped. Well, so now you are going to depend more on your own technology, and which is understandable. But on September 23rd or 24th last year, there was a decline in the three stock exchange markets in China, 7% in 1 year. Then if this proves beyond doubt that when China also sneezes, the rest of the world gets cold. It's not only the United States. So, but it seems to me, every time I talk to my Chinese friends, counterparts, you know, they seem to be shying away from that responsibility. For instance, currency wars. the chaos that we now see in international goods markets and also in the international stock exchange currency markets. So is there something that you plan to do about this, since this is very important and crucial, not only to the Jordanian economy, but to many Arab countries, especially Gulf states who have surplus are invested abroad. So I would like your reaction.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you raised quite a lot of questions here. So one question. So yeah, some of the experts, they already said that China is already #1 if you take the purchasing power into consideration. But we still believe that maybe it's not very scientific statistics, because if you take the population into consideration, China is 1.3 billion, and in US more than 200 million. And if you balance the living standard, the quality of life between China and the US, so I still believe China is developing world. China is developing country. We still need time. Even China becomes #1. I'm not sure 2020 or 2030 or 2040. I don't know yet. But sooner or later, China will catch up, will be the #1. Everybody expects. But still, I still believe that we should not be over-optimistic, because we have so large population. And we have to take the living standard of everybody in China, not only 1 or 2 billionaires. Yeah, so we have to improve the living standard for everybody in China. And also, China's role in the world economy, I think US is playing, very pragmatically, they are playing more active role. A US dollar, everybody wants it. So RMB, very few people know about it. So China's currency is not the hard currency yet. But as Your Excellency mentioned, that China's economy is affected by the global economy. And the global economy is affected by the Chinese economy. They are completely right, because we are part of the world. And then you mentioned about the stock market in China. Everybody wants to be rich. They want to be a millionaire overnight. So they go to the stock market. And some of them, they became millionaire or even billionaire overnight. That's right. Yeah, they gambled. They succeeded. But it's not a very stable, not very good model of development. It's a temporary success. And you win the money, but the others, they are losing the money. So the problem we have, in the past, we didn't have the stock market in China. We call it a capitalist life, capitalist style, which is more actual, what we call pragmatic attitude. Everybody was trying to open factories to produce whatever they can. But now people, they realize that going to the stock market is easier and faster to be a millionaire than a person who opened a factory. You have to spend so much money, too much energy. in the factory, you only have 10 or 20% of growth, or even less, 7 or 6% of growth annually. But if you go to the stock market, as I mentioned, you can be a millionaire overnight. So, some of people, they were misguided, or they had some illusions. I think these are not very far-sighted people. So that's why now people, they are becoming more and more realistic, more and more cold-minded. And you could be a winner, you could be a loser, anytime. So on China's currency, yes, a lot of people, they are asking that China should be, China's currency should be the hard currencies, one of the hard currencies in the world, because of its economy, because it's already the second largest economy in the world already. But I still believe it takes time. And now we are doing our businesses with our neighboring countries, with RMB, with Chinese money, with Chinese currency. But still globally, we have to confess that it's still early for all the people in the world to accept our money, like dollars, British pound, euros, or even Japanese yen. It takes time. And we are very cool-minded. We are very patient. And we want to do everything more solid. And we want to do more, what I call sustainable, not harsh inherent ways.
Thank you. I'm always amused when I hear China talking about itself as a developing country. And I always had this problem on the many task forces and institutions, entities that I chaired at the United Nations, and we were always arguing with our Chinese friend who insist on calling themselves developing. I take it in the sense that development is a continuous process. That's what you mean when you say developing. Because if you go to Shanghai, you think you are in, if you don't meet the Chinese on the street, you think you are in New York. So and the Chinese has their own advantage in calling themselves developing. But I don't want you to be misled to think that China is like us, the developing countries. China is already a super country in technology, in knowledge, and I think that would be the next criteria. We have failed at the UN to give a correct definition of what is developing and what is underdeveloped and developed. I think the next criteria would be on knowledge development, knowledge factors, which means information technology level of any country, and that would be easier to calculate. And by that criteria, China is definitely not a developing country. If you beg, I beg your pardon.
Thank you.
Excellency.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for the excellent presentation and for the great ideas you presented to us this evening. I'm always impressed when I listen to you, ambassadors. I listened to you for 4 years in the United Nations, but you've been always consistent. You were always policy-oriented, a peacefully oriented country, in spite of all the might and the power you have. I am lucky when I was assisting my ambassador, number 2, Ambassador Eusebio, we started the negotiations of establishing the diplomatic relationship between China and Jordan late 1970. So always when I think of you, well, we were privileged to be the one doing that. I always read all your articles. As a matter of fact, a month ago or less, I received a big delegation from your country, which really was very impressive. And it's one, they said it's the biggest company in renewable energy. And we had the privilege to meet with His Excellency, our mayor, Grand Mayor of Amman, who welcomed the party or the delegation in 15 minutes. Usually it takes a week, but he did it 15 minutes. And he had lovely negotiations and invited them even to participate in many facets of projects in Jordan, including the roads, etc., etc. But they were thankful. We left to my offices in an hour. There was also a letter to confirm his request, which is also shows that we have diligent, intelligent top people in Jordan too. I question, you have amassed a lot of dollars. Sometimes I'm scared how much dollars you have amassed over the years. How are you going to use it? Well, I look where you're going, almost to all continents, buying mines, lands, etc. But having that much amount of dollars, does it give you sleepless nights? The value of the dollar or the amount of dollars you have out of your trade will be affecting us, small countries, negatively or positively. Our dinar is pegged to the dollar, so we really feel like we'd like to keep it stable. But how do you use it now? Are you still on the same policy? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, whether China is a developing country or not, yeah, people are arguing about it because it's how can I say, the economic power, capabilities, technologies, and the modernization already in China. If you go to the coastal cities, yeah, it's very modern, very how can I say, very developed, advanced. And also concerning the Chinese foreign currency reserve, wow, as you mentioned, trillion, not billion, trillions, trillions of US dollars, yeah. So, but still, I believe that, as I mentioned, the population and the imbalanced development in China. And according to statistics, we still have 20 million or 30 million people. They are still living under the poverty line. And our technology, of course, we made remarkable progress. But still, if you compare with the more advanced technologies in the world, especially in West Europe and North America, I still believe that we have a lot in behind. And the Chinese products. So if you ask if you want to buy made in China or made in America or made in Europe, so people will easily decide if the same price, they will buy it. If some people, they want some cheaper price, yes, they will buy something made in China. And the brands, most of them are the advanced economies. I don't know, Audi, Nike, Burberry. But what brands you have in the world from China? The cars, automobiles. You have the Europe-made cars, Japanese-made cars, Korean-made cars. But very few people know about the China-made cars. We do make cars in China, but they are not as famous as other countries. Why? So we still need to catch up. We still need to do more. We still need to be very patient. China cannot be an economic superpower or developed country overnight. So even the Chinese language, everybody speaks English or French or other German. But very few people speak Chinese. It cannot be an international language, not as popular as English yet. And the currency, technologies, brands, whatever. So personally, I still believe that China is a developing country the factors, the reasons I made. Of course, if you mention only the hard currencies, yes, China is number one in foreign currency reserves, the largest trader, and the largest country concerning the number of tourists abroad. So we had 120 million people. They went abroad, the number one now in the world. I mean, they are catching up, but still takes time. And concerning your question about the hard currency, yeah, it's a good question. We have too many money. What shall we do? Yeah, sleepless. It could be. Because if you have money, so you have to think how to use them, how to make them larger. So if you want to make your reserves larger, so you have to put the money in a very safer place where you can, I don't know, 4, 5, 6% increase every year. Then you can be safe. If you are losing the money, the devaluation, oh, you should have a sleepless night. I believe so. So the other argument is that you should not use the money only in reserves. You should use your money in investment. You buy minerals. You buy land. You buy properties. You buy anything that the value could be added yearly, annually. The land. I mean, in Europe, in the United States, in Australia, in any countries. I mean, although they are in the valley, the economy is declining, it's very cheap to buy. I mean, the price could go high after 10, 20, or 30 years, sooner or later. Because properties, the land is always there, the minerals. It's a good idea. So buying is a good choice. Investment is also a good choice. You invest in a safe place, you invest in a profitable project, you make money through investment. That's true. So yeah, completely right. I agree fully. We need good experts, good economists to study more how to safeguard, how to guarantee the value of our money, the value of our currency. We still need to work harder. I'm not a good expert. We have good experts in China already, but they are not enough. And they only know how to put money in a safer place. It's very narrow-minded. And the Chinese people, whenever they have more salaries, they always put in the banks. But in other countries, they borrow the money from the banks and they make investment. Maybe it's more smart choices. But we need to learn. We need to comply with the world situation. We need to learn from the others. But still, we have money, we are rich now, but we don't know how to spend money. We should learn from the others. It still takes time. Thank you.
Good evening, Your Excellency, and welcome to Jordan, and I wish you a enjoyable stay during your mission with the Jordanians and our beloved country, Jordan. My name is Farid Dawood. I work for international organizations in the development sector. Definitely, Jordan has a lot, and the Middle East has a lot to learn from the development experience that China had over decades. And by proving a sustainable economic growth and stability, despite the challenges that China has been facing also, whether poverty, whether population, or any other factors. So I guess Jordan has really a lot to learn from China in regards of policy making, policy advice, and policy reforms. We have no doubts that China is not as developing country as Jordan or other developing countries. China has an economic growth where China produces and the whole world actually consumes what China produces. So this is by fact is something understood by everyone. I cannot think of any friend of mine who doesn't really go to China to bring a container of toys or a container of mobiles or TVs or whatever. All friends I have are just going back and forth to China to bring containers and offering actually to bring anything from there because they say everything is there. You can buy anything. You can fully equip a hospital, a hotel, everything. My suggestion working for international organizations such as USAID, UKAID, of course, JICA, GIZ, World Bank, all these institutions and organizations are supporting Jordan, whether by direct finance aid to the government or by sharing expertise and capacity building and training and so on. I guess it's time for China to have an existence in Jordan, to have like a China aid. Maybe there's no need for money, direct finance aid, even we need it. And I know thankfully that China, the Chinese president this January announced 230 million yuan, that is equivalent to $35 million, as a humanitarian aid to the Middle East countries, Yemen, Jordan, Libya, Syria, for the Syrian crisis, for the humanitarian aid. But I think, yes, we can learn a lot from the Chinese experience in capacity building and in development, whether in agriculture, whether in municipalities, whether in construction, whether in infrastructure. So do you think that China would reach a level of cooperation with the Jordanian government to start exchanging expertise, to support the government in its policy reforms in different sectors? Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, I believe so. I agree fully with you that China should do more. China should make more contributions to help peace and stability and development, economic growth in this region. And we are sharing now our experiences with the regional countries, and we are donating, we are assisting the countries you mentioned already, and some other countries in the region. And also we have more countries to support economically in Africa and other developing countries. So we are planning on it. And we want to do more, as I mentioned. We want to learn from other advanced economies, as you named. We want to set up such institutions. We want to work more on actually new mechanism, actually to do more systematically, to work more institutionally. And so regarding Jordan, yes, Jordan is a very friendly country of China. We enjoy excellent relationship, and we are now assisting through different channels, its infrastructure, its educational program, its humanitarian courses, charity programs, refugees, etc. But still, I believe that we should do more. I totally agree with the idea that China should help Jordan more economically. You mentioned about management. I think Jordan, maybe you have limited resources, natural resources, but you have excellent, well-educated, high-qualified human resources. This is your advantage. So I believe that we should learn more from you. The educational program, the English studies program, internationalization. Yeah, and you are more internationalized to some extent in the economic management, university management, actually the human resources management. So China is a country, you're quite right, to some extent it's very advanced and make excellent progress. But from other side, it's still not very internationalized. Some of the companies, they even do not speak good English yet. So if they don't have English-speaking engineers or actually people, so how can they meet the people in the outside world? How could they work together with other countries? So we have the shortages. We should learn more from Jordan in this regard. So we can be complementary. We should learn from each other. So I'm very happy to know that a lot of students, they are going to China, and a lot of students, they are coming to Jordan from China. They are learning Arabic. We believe it's a very stable, peaceful country, moderate, and a very enjoyable country. So I believe that we still have large potentials. We can work together and learn from each other.
Well, we're all eager to hear from our Lord Mayor. Microphone. Microphone.
Thank you, Ambassador Fan. As a follow-up on my learned friend, younger and smarter man, Mr. Dawood, follow-up on his point, jumping on my question. After you'd honored me with your visit in my office, and we discussed the dimensions of cooperation.
Yeah.
Somehow you failed, and I will insist on using the word failed, to understand me unless my vocabulary did not help me at the time, or my sort of idea was not appealing. All I was asking for, with the 55 billion, you could afford some 2 to 3% of that allocated to an institution in China. Bring it into the Middle East and have it work with the local governments and agencies and institutions to be the censor of what ought to be done. Tell us, because I told you I am short of money to do certain technical studies on the metro, and that is probably a couple of $1 million. And China is the best source and best market to go and get someone to come and construct, operate a metro. So why shouldn't there be a couple of $1 million made, dedicated, not for the city, but for a Chinese agency to come and have a feasibility study and tell the mayor, whoever it is, forget it. You don't need a metro. You probably need bridges and need a couple of tunnels here, or you need to change the behavior of your people. Maybe that's how you end up. So that's all. You ought to think of this. That 55 billion, take a small part of it and you know, bring it into a sort of an institution, a think tank group, and let it be a reflection of what China is all about. That said, our Prophet has brought us and took us into China 1,500 years ago. He said, go to China. That was a problem seek knowledge, and we are here in the forum of knowledge, seek knowledge, even if it is in China. And his descendants, both King Hussein and King Abdullah, took us in person to China. Not only to seek, but to also knock the doors. So we'll wait to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. As we met before in your office, and we talked about the underground, the metro, and I fully agree that Amman is a so big city. As a big city, as a modern city, maybe you need more modern facilities. So in most of the large cities, you have metros, you have BRTs, you have monorail, you have the high-speed trains, whatever. But in Amman, now you only have cars. So I fully agree that as a mayor, you are very concerned about it and you really want to do for the people, for the city of Amman. I really appreciate. But on the Chinese collaboration with you on this project, it's not the matter of amount of money. It's a matter of the method, the way how to cooperate. So as I mentioned, we have 55 billion for the Middle East. We even can provide more. We have AIIB, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. We have Silk Road Fund. We have different funds. They all have tens of billions of US dollars or hard currencies. They are ready to provide the loans, the credits, low interest, no interest rate, and the donations, of course. So please tell us, underground, you want to do it actually by donation, by free of charge, or by no interest rate, or lower interest rate, or high interest rate? So we have to be clear first, the way of collaboration. This is first. The second, so the government actually interfered a lot in the businesses. But now we have a new attitude that the government should avoid interfering in the actual businesses. Let the companies do. The companies, they have to take their responsibilities about their losses and their profits. So as ambassador, it's difficult for me to tell you that, yes, China can do it, or China cannot do it. As ambassador, I cannot tell you in 1 or 2 words. What I need to do is, first, underground in Amman, how large it will be, the amount of investment, and the way of collaboration, and the way of using the money, using the fund from China. So 55 billion US dollars for the Middle East, including low interest rate donations and 0 interest rate, and China, Qatar, and UAE fund. And except that, as I mentioned, we have AIIB, we have Silk Road Fund, we have different funds. So we are flexible, and we are encouraging the countries in the Middle East, in other countries, to explore the possibilities of using this fund. So how to use the fund, how to work together with the engineering companies.
Sorry, I have to interrupt you here.
Please,
you
please.
still don't understand what I'm trying to say.
Okay, yeah, please.
I don't want a grant. I'm telling you that with this amount of money, dedicate some money for study, for research. Come to the countries and say, you know what, you have this problem, we suggest that you do this. You have 1, 2, 3, option 1, option 2, option 3. And
maybe
it's not Amman Metro, forget about Amman Metro.
Okay, maybe some misunderstandings here. If we talk about 55 billion, it does not mean that 2% belongs to Jordan, 3% belongs to Egypt, 5% belongs to Saudi Arabia. We do not mean that. 55 billion could be a package. So every country, you have the projects, infrastructure, energy, whatever. You can make the proposals.
Let me come in.
Please,
Let
please.
me come in. Let me come in on this, please. We have 2 ways of doing this. By having the countries or the business community in the country submit proposals for consideration by you, like the USAID is doing now with its open bid policy. Give me projects, I will study whether or not.
Yeah.
What our distinguished colleague is saying, His Excellency, is with your knowledge and experience and how you built your great country, how about setting up an institute, a research center, a think tank that can provide ideas in which China is interested and which China can help and provide technical and financial support. He is not asking for help, he's not asking for money, he's asking for your leadership to translate your knowledge and leadership in the world into a center, call it whatever you want. That center will come up with proposals and submit them. This is exactly what we have been discussing, you and I, when we said we want to suggest a joint think tank, which we call the economic board for discussion. But the idea is, His Excellency wants to tap on your knowledge, on your leadership, and that you come and lead the process, like also the other superpowers are doing. The US is not always asking for open bids. They're coming for projects. They came up with the project of financial reform of the government. They proposed it. So His Excellency wants you to take the initiative and propose what you think is possible within your total 50 billion. Is that?
Okay, very good.
The best example was the French Agency for Development.
Yep.
They looked at transportation Amman. They came and said, you guys have a problem. We are willing to give you a study, a feasibility. They came out, they spent money on that study.
So His Excellency wants us to take the initiative.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And they went back to the agency, back to banks, and they gave us $176 million loan.
Okay.
Great.
2.5%
Very good.
interest.
Very good.
Great.
Now I understand.
Okay.
Maybe some misunderstandings. So I want to let you know that maybe we still need to learn. As I mentioned, quite a lot of Chinese institutions, companies, they are not internationalized. They are doing something passively. Maybe the Americans, the French, the British, they are doing more actively. What they are doing now, as you mentioned, they have research centers, they have experts, they are telling you how to do. But in Chinese way, we are not telling the others what to do, what not to do. If you want us to cooperate, tell us what you want us to do. Maybe this is a different way of between Chinese and Americans, Chinese and the Western European countries. But you are quite right. Maybe we need to learn from them. I do not rule out such possibilities. But the situation is that China never tells the others how to do and what to do and what not to do. Because we have a slogan here, we never interfere in the internal affair of the others. If you want us to help you, we can help you. Humanitarian, refugees, educational programs, but we never say that you should change your idea. You should have such plan. You should change your management. You should learn what China is doing. We never say like this.
I will.
But anyhow, maybe it's the wrong way. Maybe we need to be more active. But it takes time. It's not the time yet for China to teach the others what to do.
I think we can develop
we can study on it. We can study on it.
We will develop a proposal.
Sure, of course.
And find solutions.
Sure, of course.
His Excellency Talal Abu-Ghazaleh.
Your Excellency, thank you very much.
Thank you.
For your interesting presentation. In fact, last year, His Majesty visited China. And he met with the President of China. They had very interesting and very useful talks. During that visit, a number of MOUs and agreements were signed. Our problem here in Jordan that whenever there are bilateral talks between Jordan and another country, a number of agreements are signed, a number of MOUs are signed, but then there is no follow-up whatsoever. What I would suggest, Excellency, and I want your opinion on that, don't you think it might be useful to have a joint committee to follow up what has been agreed upon between His Majesty and the President.
Exactly.
So that we can follow up and build on those results and see something on the ground.
Yeah.
This one question.
Thank you.
My other question, Excellency, that we read and we read about the Asian Investment Bank for joint
infrastructure. Infrastructure investment.
Can you tell us how Jordan can benefit from this?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, actually, as you mentioned, last September, His Majesty King Abdullah II, he made a very successful visit to China. And maybe this was the 7th or the 8th or the 9th of his visit to China. He's a very good friend of China. He's a very old friend of China. And he signed a lot of agreements with my president during his visit. And we reached a lot of agreement. I don't know, 10 or 20 agreements were signed. Yeah, so concerning these agreements, some of them are still MOUs. The two sides, they express their willingness to do that. Some of them, maybe we can implement them. For instance, on infrastructure, on energy, renewable energy, solar, for instance, power plants, for instance. And somebody also mentioned the red to dead refineries, or the pipelines, the railways, etc. So I should say that China can do all of them. What we need to do, what we need to know is that what Jordan likes to do, from red to dead. Okay, it's a wide range, narrow range railway, or the quality, the time, and the way how to use the loans together. So everything should be clear. You made excellent proposal. We have a joint commission meeting between China and Jordan. The two ministries of commerce, they are working together. They have regular meetings, consultations. But if we don't have the annual meetings, we have embassies. As I'm the ambassador here in Amman, and you have your ambassador in Beijing. I think the embassies are also the bridges for collaborations. And we have meetings, actually between the entrepreneurs, the companies. There are tens of companies, they are visiting Jordan from China. They are looking for new projects. Yeah, as I mentioned, energy, infrastructures, etc., and the other the projects I mentioned already. And then they are looking for new projects here. So the companies are very, very enthusiastic, are very, very active. They want to know what exactly our Jordanian friends they have in their mind. So the mayor mentioned about underground. We have done a lot in China. We are very successful. And we also can do here in Jordan. But the way of collaboration, the way of providing the loans, and the technical specifications, and the size, the length. We have done a lot in China, and we have done also in this region. We have already built one in Saudi Arabia, from Mecca to Medina. You must have heard about it. So I believe that there should be more close meetings between the two sides to talk about how to follow up all these projects together. They need to know about each other. They need to know what exactly you have in your mind. So I fully agree that we should follow up seriously. We should implement the agreements signed by the leaders of the two countries. So this is what my embassy is doing here, and the Chinese companies they are doing now. Thank you.
Thank you. His Excellency.
Sorry. Oh yeah, AIIB Bank. It's an initiative made by China. Jordan is a member of it, and there are almost 100 countries. Yeah, 100 countries. Yeah, already the members of the bank. So actually, this bank is providing the fund, the loans for infrastructure. So as Your Excellency mentioned about underground in Amman, I think we also can explore the possibilities how to use the loans or credits from this bank. So they are helping the countries in Asia, Africa, even Europe, how to use the fund from AIIB.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. His Excellency Minister Halwani.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. You rightly do to the right. I think we have to stimulate our economy.
Yeah.
And we need to stimulate our economy and to increase its growth in our economy, not only for the benefit of our people, but to accommodate 1.4 million Syrian refugees.
Yeah.
And I think it's not only the responsibility of Jordan. I think it's the responsibility of the international community.
Yeah.
and also it's the responsibility of China.
Yeah.
And I believe that also that we have to revisit the component of our economy. And as Mr. Talal Abu-Ghazaleh mentioned, we have to concentrate on the technology component of our economy.
Yeah.
And here I would like to have a very concrete proposal. I think it can be of outstanding help to Jordan. If we come out with concrete proposal out of this meeting to propose to establish a technology park, Chinese technology park, Jordanian Chinese technology park, so that we can help to transfer technology from China and to accommodate it here in Jordan, and have the cooperation between Chinese. This will actually help us in enhancing and increasing the competitiveness and the comparative advantage in our economy. I would like to come with a concrete proposal out of this meeting. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for the proposal. Actually, as you mentioned, that under the umbrella of China and the Arab Forum, we have a center of transfer of technology already opened in Cairo. So in Cairo, they are now covering the whole Arab world because the Arab League headquarters is in Cairo. And maybe Chinese side, they decided to have such a center of transfer of technology to be opened in Cairo. But still, I believe that in Jordan,
we are in Jordan.
In Jordan, we still can do the same. I have a good friend, Mr. Riyad. He was the former chairman of Chamber of Commerce. And he is now working with the Chinese side on how to open a center. He volunteered to be the chairman of the Center of Transfer of Technology of China in Jordan. And he's still working now very closely with Chinese partners. I believe so. So I believe in innovation and the transfer of technology. And we have done a lot in other continents. I was working in Eastern Europe. Central and Eastern Europe, CE countries. And China also has a center in CE countries, what we call transfer of technology. So I understand fully the countries, they are in urgent need of Chinese technology. We should open such center here, and we should encourage our people, our companies, to set up such centers everywhere, not only in Cairo, but also in Jordan. I believe so. So I will encourage my companies or the Chinese side, the Chinese government, to think very seriously to have a center of innovation and transfer of technology. I strongly agree with you. I support your idea. I do my best, to help to open such center here as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Welcome, Your Excellency, and thank you very much for this very much interesting speech. Actually, most of the ideas were mentioned by my colleagues, and I happen to be the last, but not the least, hopefully. I visited China for the first time in 1995 during the International Women's Forum. And I was very much impressed 20 years ago. You know, you were working really hard. And I was impressed because there were so many Chinese students speaking Arabic. They were acting as our guides, which is very impressive indeed. And the opening speech of the forum was in Arabic.
Oh, perfect.
Before English, because they appreciated the Arab civilization, etc. You know, everybody is wondering now why China, crossed the bridge and became from developing country to advanced country, I must say. I wish that you could give us your secret, management-wise, investment-wise, and you sort of distribute it all over Jordan and the Arab world. And something else that I'm wondering, why really you started in Africa in the year 2000, and you started having investment in Africa? Were the Africans who approached you, or you approached the Africans, or you met halfway? And because you have such a forum which is called the African Chinese Cooperative Forum, and also you extended the pipes of the oil and the gas, etc., and you are doing a very good job. So, I mean, Mr. Anani, His Excellency Mr. Anani, he suggested a very good project. which is the Red Dead Canal.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
wish you can take it as a consideration.
Sure, yeah.
And this forum, economic forum, we can actually overview many projects, including
Yeah.
our empowerment team of women, that you can actually sort of, we stretch our hands to you,
Yeah.
that you might also empower women in Jordan, especially in the governance, economic-wise. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And you know China already for 20 years. You were in China 20 years ago. And thank you so much for your evaluation about the relationship, the friendship between China and the Arab country. Yeah, you are right. We have very good relationship with Arab world. And we are working very enthusiastically in the Middle East. And as you mentioned, that we have such cooperation forums, not only between China and African countries, we also have such forums now with the Middle Eastern country. We call China Arab Forum. And we also have such an umbrella, China and Latin American, China and Asian. So why we are setting up such forums? Maybe it's like your proposal about research centers. So we are discussing the possibilities of how to cooperate between China and these countries in the different continents, in different regions. So as I mentioned, between China and Arab countries, we have large potentials. China is the biggest buyer of crude oil from the Middle East. And the Middle East is the #1 supplier of crude oil to China. So this is why we are helping each other. We are dependent on each other. And also I witnessed these potentials of relationship. But the way I think you mentioned, you proposed is perfect. Yeah, there are a lot of projects here. Maybe we still need the Chinese company to know more about it. You mentioned about Red to Dead, right? And I also heard about a pipeline from Basra to Aqaba, for instance, and the power plants. So we just signed an agreement with a local company. It's an electricity power plant by using the oil shale fired power plants in Jordan. And the Chinese side has promised to provide 1.6 billion US dollars for the project. It's a very large project. It's a very good project because it's a raw material from Jordan. You have the reserve, congratulations, you have the reserve of oil shale here. So we are using your raw material to produce electricity in the power plant here. So we are starting to work on it very soon, maybe within 1 or 2 months. So there will be more people are coming, and there will be very big project from China, yeah, actually in the Middle East. And so I believe, I agree fully that maybe we need to work together more closely. We need to set up more research centers, more work groups. I mean the workshops, or what do you name it, to know more about each other. I agree fully. I fully agree with it. But as I mentioned, the Chinese way of thinking may be different with the West. The Westerners, maybe they would like to tell you what to do. But the Chinese way is to learn what you want. And we study the possibilities, whether we can do or not. If we can do, yeah, of course, we'll come ahead. If we are unable to do, we try to keep behind. Yeah, we like to keep away. But anyhow, as you know that, yeah, China has reached very good, we have very good experiences for development within 2 or 3 decades. We are summing up the experiences. We want to share the experiences with other countries. But we never say that China model is the best model in the world. We never say. And we believe that every country has their own situation. We have to respect each other. Yeah, we have to respect each other. We don't want actually to have our models in other countries, but we can share our experiences. We can work together by setting up more centers together.
Yeah.
I agree.
If you think, or I think, that we can change 7,000 years of culture in China, we are wasting our time. Okay.
You have very good experience. We need to learn from you. I'm sure. I'm sure.
Two last questions. 1 and 3.
Thank you.
3 and we will close. 1.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
3.
Thank you, Dr. Talal, for this occasion. Thank you, everybody here. Good evening. My name is Weifang. I'm a business development consultant. My question is about the climate change, and as we know, China is contribute and share all the countries in the world in the climate change.
especially in their products that is exported for all the countries in the world. As we know, and I visited China, south of China, industrial areas, they told us they can manufacture everything you want with any prices. My question, is it a suitable time now to the government of China that should take account to stop producing any goods or materials less than the international qualities? With the good prices, we can enter the competition, not in the low quality, not in other factors. Thank you very much. To reduce the climate change and the carbon in the world.
Thank you so much. As you mentioned, you are completely right. Because of very fast developing economy in China, and the large production of every kind of the products and the commodities in China, we had a problem of what we call pollution. So people are suffering. You see the foggy, the polluted air in China. So I'm very happy to be here in Amman. You always have the blue sky. But in China, in Beijing, Shanghai, some industrial cities, unfortunately, the foggy, the polluted air, people are really suffering. So I think this is the bitter experience we have to learn. Maybe in some developed countries, they had the same problems before, like UK or other European countries or United States. I don't know. I don't have much knowledge about these countries. Some people believe that this is an inevitable period of transition period for industrialization. But I still believe we can avoid it. We can do better. We could do better. But the government now is investing more money to overcome such problems, to create a better, a clear air, a blue sky for the people. You are completely right. I believe so. I strongly support you. Because myself, if I go back to Beijing, I will be suffering. And about the Chinese products, actually, you know that China is called a world factory. China produces everything. China produces the first class, the high quality product, and China produces the cheapest product in the world. Maybe this is the situation in China, or transitional period in China. Because if the Americans or Europeans, they buy products in China, they are choosing the first class, high quality. But from developing countries, they try to buy the cheapest because they want to make more profits by selling the cheap products here in developing countries. And I believe that this is a period which may be inevitable, but I still believe you are completely right. China should focus more on high-tech products. China should compete with more advanced economies. And actually, China is losing its market to the developing country. Chinese textiles is more expensive now if you compare with textiles produced in Vietnam, Bangladesh, Burma, Indonesia. Why China is losing? Because the labor cost is getting higher and higher. And we should not regret about it. We should not compete with the cheapening, on the cheap products. We should compete with high techs. If you want to have a more advanced technology, if you want to be a high-tech country, if you want to be an advanced country, an economic superpower, you have to catch up scientifically, technologically, not on cheap products. I believe so. I agree fully. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Ambassador, for the great presentation. I want actually, in continuation to what you are saying about high-tech, I want to share our experience. My name is Bassel Marji. I am the CEO of a trading company here in Jordan. I want to share my experience with one of the biggest suppliers in China for air conditioning and home appliances. I was there a few months ago. I attended a conference, and the CEO of that company, he announced that a new slogan. That slogan really, it's very deep. It is created in China, loved by the world. Created in China, loved by the world. This company is only 20 years old, and now the sales of this company is about $22 billion US. It has been #1 market share worldwide for the past 7 or 8 years. What you see, my company works maybe with about 49 European companies and 1 Chinese company. And what I have seen with this, in this Chinese company, I have not seen anywhere else in the States or Europe. So maybe I don't agree with you. You should be very proud. In this company, this for air conditioning, where do you see in the world a painting that gives you heat and cold air? Where do you see a fridge that you can just manipulate, just like you play on your phone? So you people have reached really to a big stage by productivity, by innovation, and you should be very proud, and we are very proud to work with you. So
thank you very much.
I think it's time to promote what you have just mentioned. China has everything, all the segments. You should promote on the high-tech and on the really the quality products created by China. It's designed by China, everything, not just copied by China.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I agree fully. Thank you very much for your admirations. And maybe the style is quite different, being Asian, being a Chinese. So people try to be modest. People try to be very kind, respectful. Maybe it's quite different with the people in other continents. Maybe, of course, they have power. They have the right to be proud of that. But in China, being modest is quite respectful. But still, I agree fully that China is catching up. But it takes time. Some of them, they are doing very well now. They are catching the world. They are being the first class already. They are already the first class product. But I still believe that China is a so huge country. We have to meet the demands of the people from different classes, from different continents. And sooner or later, so we believe that it's a market economy. It's not a planned economy. If it's market economy, every product should be demanded by the people in the market. It's not the way you can impose, you can manipulate. It's the way that you have to comply yourself with the changes in the world. So in China, as I mentioned, why we're losing our market to Indonesian, Burmese, Bangladesh, Vietnamese products? Why? Because they have a lower labor cost already. But 20 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe the China labor cost is the cheapest. So sooner or later, I believe, maybe like the Koreans, the Japanese, the Europeans, or the Americans, China has to compete with high products, with high quality products, with high tech, sooner or later. This is the way inevitably you have to go.
Last intervention.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحقيقة بعض الأسئلة إن ما كان أكثرها غطوها الأخوة الكرام. سيد الكريم، شكرا لسعادة السفير. شكرا جدا لأنك قربتني من الصين وشعرت حالي إني أنا قريبة جدا جدا من الصين.
أمالك.
شكرا لسعادتك وأهلا وسهلا فيك. وكثير أنا استمتعت بهيك محاضرة لأني شعرت حالي.
أمالك ليش ظبط المايك؟ ظبط لنا يا ابني.
طيب.
It's 1 or 2. Oh, okay. Yeah, please.
It's okay.
يعذرني أن بعض الأسئلة يطرحها زملائي وأصدقائي الموجودين. شكرا لسعادة السفير وشكرا لك كثير لأني شعرت أكثر شيء أني قريبة جدا من الصين. بمحاضرتك القيمة اللي ألقيت الضوء فيها بكل تواضع وبكل فخر عن بلدك. تفضل الشعب. آسف مش بحكي راح أعيد وأزيد ولا يهمك. أنا بسم الله شكرا لسعادتك وأهلا وسهلا فيك. نتمنى لك طيب الإقامة في الأردن وهذا بلدك. أوكي؟ It's okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
بشكرك لأني أنا شعرت حالي بالصين وقربتني جدا من الصين بمحاضرة سهلة طيبة متواضعة جدا منك، لأنه بالنسبة لنا الصين بلد عظيمة جدا. الحقيقة عجبني تواضعك العلمي والعملي، وقلت عن حالكم أنكم دولة نامية، وهذا يتم ينم عن طموحاتكم العلمية اللي بتعتبروها لساتها ناقصة. وعندنا آية في القرآن الكريم تقول: وما أوتيتم من العلم إلا قليلا. إذا أنتم تتماشوا مع الآية بدكم مزيدا من العلم. سيد الكريم، أنت ما ادعيت أنك اكتملت، لأن كل من اكتمل نقص. فأنتم ما فيش عندكم نقصان، أنتم بدكم يعني مزيد من الصعود. احنا عندنا مثل يقول: إذا اكتمل القمر بدأ ينقص. كما أن الرسول الكريم تنبأ، أو مش بس كمان تنبأ، كان معجب ويسمع عنكم ووصانا أن نطلب العلم لو كان في الصين. وهذا الحديث الشريف أكيد وصلكم. هو كان قصده وتعاونوا مع أهل الصين، فمشان هيك نتمنى أن نتعاون معكم. سيد الكريم، شو نظرتك لنا كدول نامية؟ إذا أنت دولة نامية، شو نظرتك لنا إحنا دول إيش؟ مع عظمة الصين يعني. إن شاء الله تصحى. بالختام، أتمنى من الله العلي القدير أنكم تكونوا النمبر 1 في العالم، لأن مللنا من ظلم القطب الأوحد في العالم. بدنا منكم العدل والمساواة بين كل الشعوب. وشكرا.
Thank you so much for your kindness and your sincerity and your high aspirations about my country, China.